Hey everyone, in previous video we have seen how we can deploy or assign an app using Intune, but we have only seen the groups or the classification by platform, but we haven't deployed or we haven't seen the actual process of doing so. So in this video we are actually going to create groups for different OS devices and we'll tell Intune to deploy Office 365 to a Windows based device. So let's get started. So first of all, we are here on the Endpoint Manager dashboard. Before assigning the application to a device, we need to first create a group based on different OS. So let us go on the group on the left hand side and we are going to create groups. You can create groups based on OS like Android device groups, Mac OS, the Apple device groups which can have Mac OS, iPad, iPhones, all of them, and then you can have one for Android. So you can create these three kinds of group. As of now I am going to create one for Windows. So click on new group and we are going to select the group type to be security. Let us give it a name called Windows devices. Let us give the same description. Azure AD roles can be assigned to this group. As of now this is no. We can switch this setting to yes to use this group to assign roles, but as of now I am going to keep this as no. Membership type, we are going to select dynamic device, and for dynamic device members we need to add a dynamic query. So dynamic query is a query by which it is going to pick up the devices to deploy the apps on. Select the device should come under this particular group. Here you can have dynamic membership rules, you can have and or, so you can assign multiple rules here. So let us choose a property and we are going to choose device OS type, and in the operator we are going to say equals to, and the value is going to be Windows. So essentially we are saying any device OS type that is equals to Windows should be picked up under this group. You can add more expression like or, and or rules, and you can have some other properties, and this is how you can classify devices in the groups. So we have only specified one rule, and this is how the rule syntax looks like this. The query has been auto generated now. You can edit this as well, but you can choose it from here. So once this is done, click on save. We have created the query and now you can click on create button and it's called create the group. The group has been successfully created. You can just go to groups and you will see the group here, Windows devices. Let us go to apps now, and here we will go to Windows, click on add, and we are going to select the app type to be Microsoft 365 apps and select Windows 10 and later. And we are just going to select this because I want Microsoft 365 apps to be installed. Here we need to review certain steps. First is app suite information. Microsoft 365 apps are Microsoft owned applications, so these details are pre-filled, but you can go ahead and change few things. So as of now we are not going to change much because everything is pretty much good to go. So we have suite name already pre-filled and the description as well. The publisher is Microsoft, which is why we cannot change this. Then we have category. Show this as a featured app in the company portal. You can select this as yes or no. The information URL. This is to explore more about the Office application and the product, and the privacy statement URL is here. Developer is Microsoft, owner is Microsoft, and if you want the user to get some helps or you want to leave some notes for the user, then you can put the notes here. You can have the logo. So these are all pre-filled because it is owned by Microsoft and Microsoft don't want things to be changed for these things. Now you can click on next. Next thing is configure app suite. Here the configuration setting format is configuration designer because here you are selecting from drop down and so on. But if you are an XML expert, you can enter XML data and all those settings can be filled here with the XML format. But I am going to choose configuration manager and we are just going to select these information from here from the drop down or from these switches. So the configure app suite section have select office app, and we have Access, Excel, everything selected. You can check or uncheck these depending on the applications you want from it. And then you have absolute information. These settings apply to all the apps you have selected. Now we want the architecture to be 32-bit or 64-bit. Generally nowadays it's all 64-bit. Next thing is update channel. Update channel is how often or when do you want the applications to be updated with a newer version. So you can have monthly, you can have semi-annual, and so on. So we are just going to leave it, maybe let's select monthly, and then you can remove other versions if you want, or you can specify the version you want to install. So I'm just going to select latest one. Then there are certain other properties that you can select for yes or no. You can also accept the license agreement on behalf of user, or maybe the user should do it, so you can just say no. And then you can also change languages and all. These are pretty much simple properties. Now once you are done with filling up these properties, you can click on next, and then you can have assignment. This is where you are going to say to assign the app to specific devices or groups. So the first thing is group. You can click on add group, and here we should see the Windows device groups. Here it is. You can just select it. It's included now, the Windows device groups. Then you have available for enrolled devices. So the thing is, this option available for enrolled device is specifically for enrolled device only. It is possible that a device is connected to Azure Active Directory but not enrolled in Intune using MDM. So we have MDM and MAM. We can have a device connected to Azure Active Directory but it is not enrolled in the MDM. Then also you can manage the application in that device. You might not be able to manage all the settings of that device because it is not enrolled in Intune as in MDM. But since it is logged in, the device is having user from Azure Active Directory. In that case, you can manage the application settings at least. So here you can basically select a group for all the enrolled device. So I'm just going to select this one as of now, and then you can have uninstallation as well. So you can select a group for which you want to uninstall the app. So I'm not going to select any of these as of now. We have just selected the group Windows devices we have created, and then we are going to click on next. On the last page, you will be allowed to review all the settings that you have done so far. Once you have reviewed it, you can just click on create and it's gonna save the application. So as of now, as you can see, we have 0 devices total. It's gonna take some time, maybe 15 minutes or so, for it to reflect the data. Once this is done, you will see one device here as we see here in the other dashboard. So if we go to devices and go to all devices, we see devices enrolled. Similarly, we will see that also under applications. So you can click on all apps, and here it comes Microsoft 365 apps for Windows 10 and later, and it is assigned now. The status and version will be updated in some time, but this is the process by which you can have applications installed on the devices which are enrolled or which are not also enrolled but connected through Azure Active Directory. By now you have a fair knowledge of how to deploy or install application on devices using Intune. Hope this was helpful.